And you are live.
Okay, here we are. Good evening, everyone. I call this meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. The date is Thursday, April 20th, 2023. So, is there member Eileen Leahy present?
Present.
Okay. Member Davy Yesick?
Present.
Great. And myself, Councilor Brown Chairs, also present. Okay. Were there any comments submitted? I don't believe so. All right. Let's move forward to the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve of these minutes? I did look them over.
I just had one nitpicky thing
Okay.
on the second page. It says Member Leahy moved to have thank you notes. I think it should be moved. Just a grammar.
Right.
Do you see that, Regina?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't have anything else.
Okay. So with that change, then would there be a motion to approve the update to these minutes?
Yeah, motion to approve the minutes with the change noted.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Regina, again for doing our minutes. Is there next on the agenda? Are there updates? I know there are, just asking. I know that there are for the amended reports, campaign fund report analysis. Lord,
Okay.
thank you.
So I sent you all on, I think, Tuesday, the report analysis. So right now we have the update that had been, which I reported at the last meeting, was that Friends of Katie George, the final report has been submitted and it was compliant. And the $250 late fee was paid. Monica for Ward 5, the amended report was submitted and it is compliant. So there's no further action on those two. And the report I sent you on Tuesday, Friends of Scott Gibson still needed to put in a final report with the notation that surplus funds will, he had put in a final report that said that funds were going to go to the city of Annapolis. However, he hadn't sent that in yet, but he had sent me an email copy of the report today, and he plans to drop off the original tomorrow with the check for the city of Annapolis, which is his surplus funds. So he was technically compliant before, but he wants to finish his final report. So his final report just needed amending, and then he should be fine. And then the last one is the People for Keanu Smith Brown. At our last meeting, we requested that the campaign reconcile and submit the reports within 30 days, or further action will be needed. Those were due on April 15th. I know that I spoke with you, Keanu, today, and that you just sent something out. So I don't really think that at this point we can do much more except review it. So again, as I mentioned, we need an actual amended report. So that means an update. And if anything was, for instance, if you had overpaid, or if somebody gave you too much, went above the contribution limit, that has to be paid back. And there's a couple of other things I think might show up. So I'm happy to look at it, but I didn't have a chance to look at it since I just got it a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can find out. So that's the only one remaining, is that one. And I know that I believe Regina plans in the next few weeks to send out reminders to everybody that the next report is going to be due in July.
July 3rd, actually,
July 3rd, okay.
because the first is on a Saturday, so we have to go to the next business day.
Okay, so at that point, since we have some of them that have submitted finals, we should be only expecting at that point 1, 2, 3. So we should be expecting 13 reports at that time. So, yeah, I think just send reminders. I think most of the people that have been non-compliant have been people that didn't win the elections, and so we should be good. Any questions on that?
No, thank you, Eileen.
Really.
I mean, one thing we have to, I think, bring up, I don't know, is Ashley here?
Ashley's on vacation.
Oh, okay. And Kiana, you're going to need to recuse yourself from this.
Sure.
And again, we're talking about campaigns at this point, not people, but we do need to, if following what's been submitted is not compliant, we don't really have any other enforcement to do except, ask again. But I do want to be very conscious that we're being equitable to everybody and that we're treating everybody the same. So we did request 30 days and this came in after the 30 days. We'll take a look at it. But if it's not compliant, it will have to go back to the campaign. And we may just have, I don't know what to suggest that we do. I did talk with Jared DeMoranis as far as what happens here. His threshold is much lower than ours. Or maybe it's higher, I don't know. They wouldn't have let it go this long. So I'll just have to wait and see, but we do have to have it rectified. And I just think that, again, being equitable, and also the fact that this campaign report was actually requested last March and was something that, so this has been, I just want to go on the record that this has been over a year. So any thoughts, Debbie, as far as how to proceed? I think you're muted.
Yeah, our clock was chiming and I didn't want y'all to hear that. No, I think it's fair. We do need to be fair and equitable. Maybe the task force, I think this is one of their items to look at, is how to work with these reports, late reports, whether we need more teeth. I don't think we need more money. I don't think we need more fines, but we need either we need to be better with clarification, or something needs to be refined going forward for sure.
Well, I'm just asking specifically
But
for
this time,
campaign.
yes, no, I'm good with what you said.
Right. Okay. All right. Any other questions from either of you for other campaigns? No. Okay, that's all I have for that one.
Thank you. It looks like we're seeing the light here.
Yeah.
Getting out of the tunnel.
I have to say, this has been the worst one in 9 years.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. It's not normal.
No.
Well, I will look out for any other updates, but I won't speak further on that. The next, though, if there isn't anything else on that matter, the next is the update from the 4/13/23 meetings of the task force to study the city municipal elections. Hopefully you watched the meeting, Debbie, or got to at least look at the minutes.
Were you both able to watch it?
Yeah, no, I saw the meetings of the March. I mean, I saw the minutes of the March meeting, but the minutes weren't out yet from the April meeting, and I did not watch the meeting.
Okay. So, so at that meeting, they reviewed the resource materials that they had received, which I had also sent to you all. focused a lot in terms of the work session report that had been given and had a number of questions. One particular question that came up was municipal versus state law and what to do if they don't agree or if there's a gap. And so that has been reviewed, has been now referred to Ashley. So I believe that they're going to be requesting that Ashley attend their next meeting to kind of go over that.
Yes, Madam Clerk.
Ashley will be attending their first meeting in May.
In May, okay.
We confirmed that today, and David Garris will be attending their next meeting on the 26th.
Okay. So, so they had some questions, which, I just tried to clarify. They did ask if we were going to be, if this current board was going to be sending any materials, and I said that it was in progress. Their plan at this point is to meet every 2 weeks. They discussed outreach in terms of a public hearing and also maybe meeting with different community groups and organizations, or at least letting them know what's going on and asking them to come to meetings or submit information or comments. Their plan also is to, each of them is going to do some individual goals and then submit them to the chair, Ian Pfeiffer, to look for some commonalities. They asked to have David Garris and Ashley attend future meetings, which has been set up. And they also plan to connect with Jared DeMoranis and ask him to come to a meeting too. Their next meeting is April 26th at 6 p.m. And they'll be meeting on the second and fourth Wednesdays of every month. And then if they need additional meetings or like for public hearings, they'll announce those. So I thought they got a lot done. I was kind of surprised the meeting was just an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, good.
So it's good. Anything you want me to bring back to the group?
Well, do we want to decide, I know the question of the additional materials, do you want to decide what we can send over to them tonight? Go over this update and see
Well,
what.
I guess it works here since it's not a specific item.
Okay. So did you, Debbie, have you taken a look or anything? I know we have. Have you been able to take a look at the
At the document?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I'm gonna. Okay.
Were
Yeah,
you
I
able
don't
to
ha-
look at mine? Because mine got
Yes.
erased.
I did. I
Okay.
mean, last month we discussed, adding things to it because of what Keanu had added. And then we pulled that out and saw that, and Eileen, you cleaned that up. And so between, what the CRC has said, between what we've learned with these campaign reports and from our election process and working with the different agencies, and then the bullets from this committee. I mean, more things might come up as we go.
Well, I think between what has been put forth before and what was added pretty much covers the whole code,
I
which is
agree.
what we've asked them. I mean, their plan is to review pretty much everything. What I tried to do, I had gone in and done mine, and for some reason on the Google Drive, I think, Keanu, when you put yours in a second time, it erased mine. Or at least I couldn't find it.
Oh no. So what I did is I took, I incorporated them both together. I took pieces that you've had and I just incorporated into the sections that were on here. And the only one that I left it exactly the same was charter. So if you look at charter, because you're not, although it looks it could be a lot, it wasn't that much when I incorporated them all together, and I deleted much that was repetitive on my end, and I just put yours. For example, under campaign fund reporting, most of that under there is from what you had added. Under charter is all that you've added.
But I didn't add, I actually took out the new things that were, you had taken the original work session report, correct? And then you added some things. What I attempted to do is to take out those additions and utilize the nomenclature from the code and put them in the order.
Okay,
So
so
I'm a little confused with putting them back in because I'm looking at the document and things like voting and a lot of this was from the work session paper. I do really
Yes.
like the last 2 pages where you put some resources. I think that would be very helpful, but my goal had been to kind of simplify it. And so I'm a little confused with what I'm looking at now because it looks like the work session report.
Yeah, so what what I had from you, I felt that after looking at the former 2018 election priorities that you all had done, the document that I updated looks similar to that document. What you had added to it did not look like the 2018 election priority document. What it looked like is that you deleted everything that I had added and incorporated, and you just put it in specific bullet points. So instead, what I did was I did the other way around. I took what I had and I took what you had and incorporated it into it so that the formatting was the same as the 2018 election priorities.
Well,
And so I felt too that it was important for us to lay out some election priorities that myself, you, and Debbie had from being representatives from the Board of Supervisors of Elections. If we don't do that, then our voices and our thoughts will not be heard. And I remember when we were going over the membership for this task force, and I'll repeat it again, I had mentioned that I did not support some of the members and I felt that they could be different. So what we agreed upon was your voice still will be heard when it comes down to sharing the election priorities. We can make sure that they're on the list. We can make sure that they have all that. And so what I did was exactly that.
okay. I'm just asking for a point of clarification. You mentioned that you used the 2018 priorities. That's not what this is. This came from the 2022 work session, I believe.
Yeah,
Was the
both.
2000
So I used the formatting from the 2018 election priorities where you were able to lay out all the priorities that the board has after those elections. And I incorporated from that work session all of the bullets that was had, and I took away some and added some more updated ones. If we go over this, I would think that it's both similar to what we are looking for. And I'll just go through it right quick because we do have some time. For example, when we talk about giving something to a task force, I would say we should be descriptive and detailed and or as much as we can without being too biased, as well as we should give them some clear direction. So when I go to voting, I automatically know this is specifically focused on the process of voting. That's running partisan elections versus nonpartisan. That's an open primary. That's independent. When we talk about independent voters and those two options there or examples, I switched it from options to examples after looking at all of those cities that are at the bottom here. The current Maryland jurisdiction, I researched all of this as much as I could, and I added what those cities had to our document. And when I go further, we talk about ranked choice voting in a primary general election. I didn't do it as detailed as it was prior to. We talk about the ballot options. I do believe that if it's repeating from the former years of the board, then that's okay because this is an updated document of our priorities. So if we believe that there's still priorities, we should keep it on our updated 2023 document for this current board. Then when you go to the research and reevaluate mechanism for expanding the electorate, that was the main overarching theme. So we talk about voter red. That's what you had on the document that you shared. So then I put voter registration there, the different examples that you can think about. The process for early voting, lowering the voter age. I didn't go into the detail like I did at first for that. If you go to the editing history, you can see everything that was changed and everything that was updated. And then when you go to the voting polling locations, in person drop boxes, how many locations do we have? They can go to that part of the code and they can dive into it. Contested elections. I didn't do it as we talked about before. I erased all the extra and I just kept it at the 2 that you had on your original document. Finances, fundraising. That has to do with finances. Donation and loan limits. All I did was added the 2 amounts of the limits that are currently in the code. Campaign fund reporting, I added what you had from your document, and then I added what I had from our document to say where can the remaining funds go. And then I went to defining expenses. All of those rest of those from the second one on down was from the document that you shared. Everything else that I had is gone. Charter, all of that is from the document you shared. The only thing that I added was the part that I had on the original document, which was the example 1 remaining the same, or example 2 special election. The task force, it was not from your document, you didn't touch on this, but the task force reconvening, making sure that they're constantly looking at the code, and this should not just be a one-time thing. And then the last part were the resources. So when I look at this, I really don't see a lot of, I'm telling you what to do, you should do that. I'm seeing a lot of, just take a look at this. Originally, I can see how that could have came off, that we were telling them what to do and giving them every definition of it. But I think this updated document does do it a little bit lighter, and it's straightforward and will be extremely helpful for them, while also outlining what us, this current board, believes should be our priorities coming into 2023 and beyond until the next one. Now, please, it's open. So I'm just sharing just why I did what I did, why I said, why I've been sharing what I've been sharing, and why I felt that this was important.
I guess I was just trying to streamline it and take out anything that had been presented before, because I think we had already decided that we agreed with what was moving forward. If we don't agree with what was in the 2022 work session, we could certainly look at that. But to include information that was already on there just seemed redundant to me. So I am concerned.
I don't think, does it hurt? Does it hurt anybody?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
I'm just wondering, like, what is the harm that we're doing in giving them this document? That's what I really want to know.
I guess I was trying to pull out the things that were different, because those were the priorities that we've identified that have importance. And to me, it was just, when you've got a lot of materials, give me what the new stuff is, not some of what the old stuff. It was really just to keep it simple and cleaner for them. Like I said, I did like the additional information. I think that's really helpful. I am, I think that I took things out and it looks like, you put them back in. It's not a big deal in the big scheme of things, but I do think that the tone of this does give more direction. For example, determine if Annapolis will have ranked choice voting in the primary or the general elections. That kind of comes under, I don't know. I won't get into it too much. I think the one thing I would request comes out, I think that under fundraising, donation and loan terms limits, I'm not quite sure why that's there, because that's the current. Are we asking for a change? Are we asking them to review it, or what are we doing there?
Yeah, to review the donation and loan limits. So I said current for all the persons 1,000 current. So I could add review donation and loan, a review.
And I think we say review it because it doesn't say. But again, I tend to be kind of a streamlined sort of person. So if the current is there, hopefully they're going to be looking at it, but whatever.
I mean, we did give them 4 documents. You shared with them a lot of information, and the current board is only sharing with them 1 piece. Right. I mean, 2 of these pages
I think it just dilutes what we're saying. I think that the main areas it's fine. It just, to me, it dilutes the message because it's more information there. So, but
what message though? I just feel as if myself and Debbie, we had not had any say or do in the document you originally shared. So in this current document, it's an incorporation, and Debbie, please add or include whatever, is an incorporation of the current board. So I'm just wondering, or trying to figure out, what is the issue with us adding or even keeping some priorities of the current board and just sharing it with them? Even because they're grown. You said it yourself. They're grown. They'll take the time.
I just find it confusing that there are things from the previous report are cut and pasted into this report. So I don't want to get nitpicky about it, but that's where I am. I was hoping we would put out new ideas, and there are new ideas in here, but it's also mixed in with some previous ideas. But I'm not going to get into it. You know, it'll be up to the task force to you know, review it and to tease, you know, to work through it. So.
And they asked for it. They did ask for
did
it.
Well,
ask
I mean,
for it.
they need it. They need information, and all of this is information. It's just a matter how we're giving it to them. And both of you are right. There's no, you know, right or wrong way to convey information. I'm fine with this document. I mean, it's giving them a lot to think about, and they'll have to come up with their schedule of doing that. You know, I mean, we chose them for their experience, and hopefully they will, you know, look at what we're doing and look at this and throw some stuff out and keep some stuff and have some new things on their own. So, I mean, this doesn't hurt. And if it doubles up or mixes up, it's still giving them information that we're concerned about, hoping that they'll look at it in some fashion.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, I know the question on the floor was, what can we share with them for the next meeting? I think that this is it. If there is a support and a motion to have this document finalized in PDF form, whatever works best for the task force, Virginia, whatever you think will be best. And we can have you share this on with them for discussion / review, what have you, at the next meeting. If y'all are okay with that. Oh, yes, Madam Clerk.
Well, the motion is to accept this one and not the other version that was submitted. Okay. Just clarifying.
Well, yes. Okay. So what I think it would be important for you to do too is look at the version that you sent and then look at this version. And I can guarantee you that most of, if not all of what you had in that version you sent is in this document.
Okay.
It just doesn't look like your document because
Right.
I don't
It's just
I don't
also,
think- I don't think
right,
it's
we
good.
also, that's fine. We also just got it today, so.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
this document has been worked on for a while.
But your version that you're putting forth today came in this today. Or it's
The
dated
version-
April 20th.
So
Mm.
yeah, I did. I worked on it at 3:19 a.m. I did.
Yeah, so
Because I wanted to make sure that I incorporated what you had sent
know.
into this document.
But I'm just pointing out, we just got it today. So in terms of being able to review it, we really need to make a decision tonight. So,
Well, so the thing is I got yours on April the 17th. So I had 3 days to try to figure out how to merge both
right,
that.
I move that we
I just wanna
accept
be
this.
clear. I just want to be clear here, Eileen. Okay, it's
I
not
understand. I'm going to put in a request that any of our reports, we get at least 48 hours ahead of time, so we have time to review them. And so that's what I was trying to do with getting them in on Tuesday. So I'll go ahead and make a motion that we accept.
It was March 23rd that I sent this to you. So I would have loved if you had sent it maybe the first or second week of April. That would have been great. It was April 17th, 3 days ago. So come on, let's be accountable to each other. That's all I want to be clear in.
I'm trying to make a motion.
Okay.
I make a motion to accept the most current version posted of the 2023 election priorities to be sent to the task force.
I second.
All in favor of that? It is.
I mean, we're all doing the best we can, and this is new. This is a new, you know, this is important to us, and it's a new venture with the task force. So we're learning too.
I don't know where, there shouldn't be any upset feelings or anything. I don't know where that's.
No, it's all good.
I'm not upset.
Yeah.
No, just the tone. That's all. It just sounded
Okay.
that way. And since we're still on this topic, though, I do want to make it clear too, as I've been watching those meetings, since we're on this sentiment now, as I've been watching those meetings, it would be great, Eileen, if you gave them, I know that you're there to support as our liaison or ex officio member of the task force, to speak not on behalf of the board, because in those meetings, it comes off as if you're speaking on behalf of the board on things that I don't agree with, or how you're saying it, I don't agree with it. And so I do want you to be mindful of that too, that when you're going on these meetings, you're speaking on behalf of all of us, and you should share too what we have in mind, not just what you have in mind. Because I think that I've been quite vocal of how I feel about this task force from the beginning. And we're trusting you, and we believe that you're going to be able to take even Debbie, if she has thoughts, that you'll take that, and maybe we have to look through the minutes to write that down or something. But you're the only line that we have really to the task force. And so, I would love to, and that's why this was important to me, because I know that this is really the only opportunity I've had to share priorities that they can see without you going and not really sharing. So I just wanted to make that clear too.
Well, if there's anything upon your review that you disagree with, would like me to clarify, please send me an email and I'll be happy to do that. I've been speaking as the board member because I am the ex officio, and I was also speaking in terms of what there was no 2023 board election priorities that had been in place. So I was referring to what I was asked to do, which was the 2022 work session and the previous reports. If I had a personal opinion, I tried to always say from a personal perspective. But if there's something you don't agree with, then please let me know. And that needs to be brought up in this group to find out what is the position. So if there's something that you don't agree with that I've said, then we need to bring it back to this group so that we do have one board focus. So I'm happy to have you let me know that. I'm happy to go back to the task force and clarify anything. Like I said, they did ask about what were the 2023 election priorities. Were they going to be getting something? And I said yes, and that we were in progress and we were going to be working on it. But if I said something referring to the previous reports, that's what I was asked, was to comment and give information based on the previous reports that they had. They did not have this document. So in the next meeting, if there's comments or questions about this document, I'll be happy to answer them or bring them back to the board.
Okay. You did say that, and then you, by the way, you also said after that some of the members on the board have an issue in including things that's pretty much telling them what they should do. I believe it was something of that sort that you mentioned after they had asked the question about an update of the priorities. And so it did come off as if what the updated priorities were not as valid as the priorities that they have currently. It did.
I'll be happy to go back and look at it. I may have said something using issues as if there were some issues that needed to be added to it that we were still discussing, and not an issue with the document itself.
Thank you.
That would have been my intent, but I'll be happy to go back and look at it.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Let's move forward if there aren't any other questions on this. And by the way, not questioning you at all, Eileen. Not questioning you. Still trust you, still believe you, still love you. Don't even think otherwise. Thank you. Next, moving forward, update 03/23/2023 redistricting and revised election wars' boundaries. Oh, yes, Madam Clerk.
I just want to let you know that ordinance will be referred to the Rules and City Government Committee on May the 5th. And the City Council is also going to be having a work session on May the 18th at 3 o'clock regarding the ordinance.
Yeah. Excuse me, Candace, can you take down the
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
document?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, I guess I'm up again.
Oh, yeah. You.
Okay. I would, if you haven't already, I would highly recommend that you all read the ward boundary
Report.
report. It's quite extensive. I did follow up on a couple of things because I think at one of our meetings or at our last meeting, there was a comment that the ward boundaries would not change until after
Right.
the election in
25.
Oh, but I thought it said 2029.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
late.
Yeah.
But it's, okay, so I talked with Jared Littman, who is the chair of this, and it's still, he says it's going to happen before. And I sent him the piece in the report that says that the ward boundaries will take effect after the new mayor and the city council are sworn in.
Madam Clerk.
I just want to say that report isn't official yet.
I know, right.
It's not at all because they're not finished working on it. It's just their report that they submitted to the council. So it's just a document at this point.
Right, but I think it behooves this board to ask for clarification, real specific of
When?
how it affects when, and so how it affects how things are set up for voter registration and assignment to different wards. So because I also did touch base with David Garris from the Anne Arundel County Board of Elections, and they've already started making changes. They're gearing up for the 2024 elections already. So they've been putting precincts, but they would like to have the information for when that's going to happen. And he talked about doing a meeting next week, and he, I guess, also CC'd Sean Wampler and you, Regina. So it seems like it's probably going to be premature because, like you said, this hasn't been finalized yet.
Yeah, they're not going to have a meeting next week. They are in the process of, David's going to write some type of memo and come to the next task force meeting because we spoke to Sean and they're not even close to.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't ask for that.
They're not at a point where they should be meeting to change anything. And we just need to keep it on our radar that our Board of Elections office opens in August of 2024.
Right. And
you
I
can
did
submit your certificate of candidacy next August. So you really shouldn't be changing the wards and what you can run for if you don't know what ward you're in.
Right. But that's what I was saying to Jared. I gave him those dates, and actually it's the end of July when the certificates of candidacy happens. So I think it would behoove one of us to attend the May 18th meeting.
The work session?
Yeah, or at least just to share for sharing of information, not to speak.
Well, that's what I was ready to say, because the work session will only be with the council and the people on the committee. When you come to the city council work session, there's no public input.
Okay, so we could watch it afterwards, though.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, this is 113 pages, y'all.
Right, and it does have a lot of really good information in terms of how it affects the voter act. I also did ask David about, I couldn't find it online, if Anne Arundel County had reached the threshold where election materials needed to be done in a second language. And he confirmed that it does not.
Does not.
So only Prince George's County and Montgomery County are required to do election materials in a second language. What we did in the last election was we provided a number. So if someone needed assistance with another language, who they would contact at the county. Because you can't assume necessarily that somebody just needs one specific language. I know in Montgomery County, for like the Rockville elections, they'll list like 10 different languages that you can contact to get more information. So, and I know that if in 2017, when we talked with Mark Rodriguez about perhaps doing some materials in Spanish, we were actually cautioned because you have to be careful about translations. So anyway, I did follow up in terms of finding out if we needed, I was trying to be proactive that if we did hit that threshold, that we knew about it. And it's my understanding, and again, I wanted to clarify, and I couldn't find the on-site piece, that it's based on registered voters, not on population, which probably explains, even though we do have a high non-English speaking population, if they're not registered voters, I'm not sure it gets counted for the threshold.
So that's a little different than the regular census that we have, right? When we were
Right, the
doing,
regular census is
everybody.
everybody, but they may, I can't remember if it's on there,
Yeah.
but it's whether you have, the threshold for increasing election materials, I believe, is based on registered voters
Wow.
who answered the census. So it's on the department. In the past, I found it on the Department of Commerce's website, but I couldn't find it. Maybe I just didn't dig deep enough.
Let's see.
Well, and if we did need to provide any documents in another language, the city does have a Hispanic liaison.
Right, and I think that's who we referred to at the last election. We referred, if you needed information, you could contact for any translation.
Okay.
So I think that's all my homework on that one. Is there anything else?
Well, I just wanted to say, at your last meeting, you asked that Mitchell do a public information request for the task force, and that they were having their first meeting, and she did.
Okay, great.
Yeah, she put it out on social media.
Okay. Is anybody watching? Has anybody watched? Is there viewership on the first two meetings so far?
Yeah, there is. They get 36 plus views. And I know that may
Okay.
not sound like a lot, but for the city, yeah, that's
Right.
a pretty decent amount.
And we can watch it live, right? Or do we have to wait? Can you watch the meeting live?
Yes, it is live streamed,
Yeah.
and you can watch it live, and you can watch a recording of it.
Okay. Thank you.
That's fine. Thanks.
Thanks, Mark.
Yes, it doesn't talk. Thanks. Okay. So moving forward then with the task force, the next action item will just be for one of us to attend or watch that 18th meeting and decide maybe what to share with them after, or what do you think our role in this should be?
I don't think you have a role.
Yeah, that's
No, the only thing you have to do is you're going to provide them with the documents you want them to review, and then they go in the direction that they want to go with it.
With the boundaries, the war boundaries in redistricting?
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Task force.
Are you talking about the task force or the work session?
Yeah, that works. Yeah, so yeah, since I know we had the update today, so I was seeing if there was anything else we wanted to follow up on or do or act upon with this, or we just want to stay in tune and updated on the
I'm sorry, Ken, are you talking about the task force? Or are you talking about the word boundaries? Because you flipped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at the that PDF document with the 113 pages, and it was Annapolis Ward Boundaries and Redistricting Task Force. So I just said task force because we were on the topic of the boundaries.
Okay.
But yeah, I am talking about that.
My thought was just to watch it at some point to just gain information so that we're going to need clarification by election, by
Next year.
2024.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we didn't have to act on anything.
Right. And I did communicate that to Jared Littman. So I don't think there's anything more that we have to do except just hopefully wait for the clarification on how it's going to work.
This is something else. But I love the process. Okay. That was everything on our agenda.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Debbie, question?
Well, so there's nothing that, I'm wondering, would it behoove any members of the election task force to monitor the redistricting task force? We can. I don't know that our task force has their hands full already. There's really nothing they would need to have an opinion on regarding the redistricting, right?
I would say at this point, the redistricting is they're having a work session with the council, and it's up to the council for the next steps.
Okay. So we shouldn't blur the waters at this point with getting our task force involved with what's going on with redistricting.
They don't really have a role. We don't really have a role except just from informational purposes.
Exactly. Yeah. Got it. Also, I am going to miss the next May 20th meeting. Our third daughter is getting married in Charleston.
May
on
18th.
May 20th.
May 18th, ain't it?
Oh, I'm
Isn't it?
sorry, May 18th is the meeting. The wedding's in Charleston on the 20th, and I'm going to be gone from the 17th to the 23rd. So I just want to, before I forget to say next meeting of our supervisors of elections on May 18th, I will not be in town.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
I'll be a
Well-
harried mother of the bride.
Well, congratulations. Blessings
Thank
to the
you.
family.
Congratulations.
Year and a half in the planning, so hopefully
Hopefully it'll
Wow.
go.
that'll be good. I can breathe easier. Yeah.
I did have a question, again, trying to be proactive as we're trying to be with the ward boundaries. I know that I believe the legislature made some changes in terms of elections and was
Yeah.
wondering if perhaps either you, Keanu, or Debbie could follow up on that and maybe, well, if Debbie's not at the next meeting, but
Well, I can send you.
Right,
it would be
right,
helpful to have that. Yeah, Brianna Cuffey used to provide that information.
Okay.
And I think I can't remember if I sent out the new summary guide for the state election laws. That was 2022. So there might even be probably
Yeah.
gonna be some updates from that.
Right. And the 90-day report I saw has already come out. And that is a wrap up. Well, you know, Keanu, the 90-day report, it's a wrap up of the 90-day session written by Department of Legislative Services. And it's a very succinct summary of all the bills
Mhm.
by topic. So I noticed it's already been put online, and I'll send a link to you all for the election, the pages that cover election law.
Okay, that'd be great.
Thank you. Great. Yes. That'd be awesome. Always moving in the world. Okay. Are there any other thoughts or anything regarding this? I believe everything should be set to go for our next meeting. I don't think there's anything that we need to add to the next agenda except for that update on the reports and then the amended reports and then the anything else in the meantime. We could just let you know, Regina, before the agenda is approved for the meeting and sent out. Debbie, is there any, and please make sure if there's anything you think we should discuss, Debbie, let us know since you won't be, or
Sure.
if you want to wait until you are there, since you may think it's important for you.
Okay.
Okay. Well, everyone, as always, is there, we're moving to adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting of April 20th,
Okay, second to that,
7:49.
7:49
Second.
PM.